In 2007, Kanye West released his third studio album, Graduation, which resulted in a complete change in the music industry.
Available September 11th at FYE. We got the hookup for your entertainment.
It was a sound unheard of at the time, but if we go even further back, 1988, manga author Akira Toriyama starts his most iconic and monumental picture yet, a manga that would shift the entire direction of anime and shonen as a medium. The work that inspired your favorite battle action anime in more ways than you think. Dragon Ball Z. I don't like Dragon Ball. And yes, I grew up with it. As a kid, I thought Dragon Ball was the I tried doing the Kamehameha, going Super Saiyan.
My name is Jalen, and I am a Super Saiyan.
Fusions, all of the above. I even called my cat Goten. He ran away. Still, I was enamored with the fights and the characters. Was it perfect? Probably not. But as a kid, I thought it was more than that. It was fun. Yet, past childhood, I never went back to revisit it much. Even a series such as Naruto, I rewatched every portion of my life, childhood, high school, and now as an adult. Each time I liked it less, but at the very least, it always left me room to think and go back to it. Shikamaru and Itachi remain two of my favorite characters of all time, and I'm always fond of the way they were handled in the series. But I never did the same with Dragon Ball. Instead, I watched YouTube videos on people saying why it sucked, and I just went, I guess it does. I don't look back on my childhood with much fondness, so nostalgia isn't really a basis for finding value in a series. I never bothered trying Dragon Ball again. Shortly after, Dragon Ball Super came out, and although I was excited at first, I was very disappointed with what came from it. Super Saiyan God is just Goku with a different hair color, and the fights weren't nearly as great as I remembered. Shortly after, Resurrection F came out, and oh wow, now we have another new form that makes Goku even stronger. Frieza is back. Again, Dragon Ball Super being an overall disappointment to what was supposed to be the great comeback of the series really cemented this thought that maybe I never even liked Dragon Ball. So for the longest time, I heavily criticized it. There's no thematics, it's just senseless screaming, people get brought back to life so it doesn't matter when someone dies. The fight's consistent transformation after transformation. Characters don't grow, it's all nostalgia, it's just childhood memories. Watch an actual nuanced series for once. I just don't like Dragon Ball. Hey, you wanna read Dragon Ball?
I thought you didn't like it.
I don't.
Sure.
You just popped in a Kanye West, get right for the summer workout tape. And ladies, nobody wants a little tight ass. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
The first couple of arcs slap you like a first album. It's messy, inconsistent in quality, and lacks maturity. I hated the amount of jokes with Master Roshi. Jesus Christ! Every chapter was just text jokes with Bulma that were glaringly unfunny. There's this one scene that this nasty ass pig roofies Bulma to see her naked, and it's played off as a funny gag. It's so obvious that Toriyama had no idea where the story was going. The training sequence with Master Roshi gets dragged on with no proper direction, and arcs don't really flow well from one another. The first tournament arc doesn't really stand out to me. It's probably one of the first of its kind, and by this point, I had read so many better tournament arcs that I didn't really care. The Red Ribbon Army are villains. Just plain old boring villains. A lot of it hasn't aged all that well either. This section of the story isn't something I would call great, but like Kanye's first album, The College Dropout, the mixing is actually pretty good. You keep reading, you keep listening. Kanye West uses all his experience as a producer and makes his first album a classic, a soothing sound yet rough at times. Ye is still trying to figure out his sound and balance his attributes with his ego. While this album was being made, Kanye was the victim of a car accident that broke his jaw, yet that didn't stop him from working on his art. Not every song is good, but you keep listening. Through the Wire, Last Call, my personal favorite, Family Business.
Claro que soy yo, hijo.
Goku's trying to find the Dragon Ball so that he can revive this native's father that died helping Goku, which ties into the main theme of the fortune teller Baba arc. Family. In this arc, Goku and his friends have to fight a wave of enemies: Mummy, Invisible Man, a Devil Man, all the classic monster tropes, but the final fight is the one that really hits the reader. Through the entire series, we hear about Grandpa Gohan, the man that raised Goku. He trained for Roshi, and Goku deeply cares about him. He makes sure to always find the Dragon Ball his grandfather left behind. Even when he finds out the orb isn't actually Grandpa Gohan, he still treasures it because it represents who he was. Growing up, my father always tried to push me this idea that he was my best friend. yet I never felt comfortable sharing stories with him. In reality, my grandfather was my best friend. He would be there for every practice, every play, every swimming lesson I had. He was always there, always willing to go everywhere with me, and served as a great image of what a father should be. One time I asked him,
Hey Grandpa, are you scared of anything?
"No."
You're not scared of anything?
Even ghosts? I remember him laughing to this comment. I was so serious when I said it, but I look back on it with so much fondness. I miss my grandpa, and dealing with his death was one of the hardest moments of my life. But when I tell you that this fight touched me to such a level, Goku's fighting this mysterious man with a mask and a halo that is really challenging Goku's skills. It feels like he knows Goku through and through. Once he pulls out Goku's tail, he becomes furious. This is the moment where the man gives up and reveals himself to be Grandpa Gohan.
Pero si eres mi abuelito, eres mi abuelito. ¡Abuelito! ¡Abuelito!
Mi querido Goku. Ven a mis brazos.
Goku bursts into tears and jumps straight to Grandpa Gohan, and man, this scene made me cry. This was the moment I fell in love with Goku's character. This immediate gratitude and emotional happiness to seeing his grandpa spoke to me. It made me think, what if one day I saw my grandpa again? I'd be confused, but I would do the exact same thing. Goku's a lucky kid, and I can't help but be happy for him. Him being so respectful about his grandfather's wish to not be revived is also a really touching moment showing Kid Goku's maturity. When my grandfather passed away, I really struggled to cry about it. I guess I was struggling to accept the reality of things. But this moment, although simple, helped me cry a little bit more.
遠い未来、あの世で成長した姿を見るのを楽しみにしておるぞ。
I woke up early this morning with a new state of mind. A creative way to rhyme without using knives and guns. Keep your nose up to the sky. Keep your heart to God. Though it's a rocky start for both artists, they are met with quick success.
College dropout Kanye West.
They use their skills to stand out and now understand how to evolve into something far, far greater.
Everybody want to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
This is when I fell in love with the sound. I understood the mixing. The game was at a bar that I thoroughly enjoyed. The humor, the fights, it was finally going all together. In this tournament, there really isn't much of a story, but it doesn't need it. It's entertaining and shows what Toriyama is all about when it comes to martial arts. I get asked if I look at a lot of martial arts to get hints for techniques or poses. While I have watched a lot of kung fu movies, surprisingly enough, I didn't have all that much interest in the martial arts themselves. The action is fast and impactful, like a movie starring Bruce Lee. It's exaggerated, but it hits. Toriyama understands what made this movie so entertaining and applied it into his work. Although he wasn't experienced in martial arts and its technicalities, he was obsessed with how fun it was to watch. And that is the main focus of this entire tournament. Look at the way Mr. Jackie Chun takes his head and just bounces up. Toriyama understands action paneling better than anyone you'll ever see, and I mean that. In this fight, the hype, the feeling that you feel deeply rooted in your bones. You get just a taste, a little smidge of what Toriyama can do in a fight sequence. There's barely any dialogue trying to decipher a secret move the other person's doing, or a, wow, he hit my stomach, what should I do next? No, Toriyama knows that this is a visual medium and goes for a show, not tell. My issue with many shonen today is their need to explain absolutely everything that's going on. No, Tanjiro, you don't need to explain to me how it's hard to apply pressure into the demon, or explain to me something that can so easily be told visually. And I'm not saying that Dragon Ball is better than Demon Slayer. It is, and it's because it understands what matters most in the fight: fluidity. If a fight doesn't flow well, it loses the attention of the reader. Look at the way Goku dodges Tien's attacks and wraps his way around him, going for a straight hit. No talking, just telling the art to tell the emotion for itself. It shows confidence and trust in the reader. Toriyama doesn't baby you around. He expects you to be able to follow his paneling because it's simply that good. Look at the pressure of this attack. You can almost feel it in the panel itself. This is the moment you start having real fun with the mix. The story isn't crazy, but man, is it entertaining. Gold Digger was the first song from Kanye that brought a genuine smile on my face. It might have been Jamie Foxx's line and repeat or Kanye's lyrics, but there's a reason this song is so good. His storytelling and narrative brings a drastic improvement to what was just a really good producer.
18 years, she got one of your kids, got you for 18 years. I know somebody paying child support for one of his kids. His baby mama car crib is bigger than his. You will see him on TV any given Sunday, win a Super Bowl and drive off in a Hyundai. She was supposed to buy your shorty Tyco with your money. She went to the doctor, got lipo with your money. She walk around looking like Michael with your money. Shoulda got that insured Geico for your money. If you ain't no punk, holla, we want prenup. We want prenup, yeah. It's something that you need to have. Cause when she leave your ass, she gon' leave with half. 18 years, and on her 18th birthday, found out it wasn't his.
The way the entire verse revolves around the 18 years, everything that was going on during these 18 years, and then wrapping it up just how it started. 18 years, and bringing the twist of the story. These guys are on top of their game now, but it's still not perfect. I really wanted to love the King Piccolo arc. It had a great beginning with Krillin's death, but although King Piccolo made for a menacing villain, Goku's victory against him didn't feel earned since all he did was drink a senzu juice that made him stronger. But this arc led to the climax of the late registration, which is easily the best part of the entire album. We hit a time skip for everyone to train for one final tournament. Goku turns to Islam with a beautiful fit, and this entire reunion is... Wow, every fight in this tournament proves to be interesting. One of the hardest fights to execute was Krillin versus Piccolo, because it's clear he wants to show how much Krillin has grown, but he also needs to make sure he shows how much of a threat Piccolo is, and he executes both angles of the fight so damn well. The rest of this arc is as great as you think. A Kamehameha with his toes? You got it! The absolute insanity of this punch, it almost screams back at you. It's here. I don't like Dragon Ball. At least I thought I didn't. Now I realize I feel more than nostalgia over the series. I just... Oh my god. It's here when I realized just how much I was missing out by acting like Dragon Ball was never great. Goku showing mercy towards Piccolo is amazing and makes you curious what will come from their relationship. The conclusion of the original manga is open-ended enough where you're excited for what's to come, but at the same time, you can close the book, smile, and tell yourself, yeah, Dragon Ball is the shit. So many people miss out on a lot of Dragon Ball's greatest qualities because they watch it so early on in their lives. But these characters are so damn entertaining to follow. Even as someone that's burnt out by 99% of shonen tropes, what I had read I loved, although not all of it was perfect. Late Registration is a much more personal album, and way better at balancing out all his skills as an artist. He still hasn't perfected the sound just yet, but he gets it. He has the talent, and you have genuine faith in him and what's to come.
Graduation was a much more daring album than Kanye's previous two, where he'd made the transition from successful producer to bankable star. Its songs are built for much different sounds than the dusty, pitched-up hyper-soul that he built his career on.
Did you realize that you were a champion?
He made Graduation.
Yes, I did.
The SAIYAN Saga and the Namek Saga as an extension is one of the greatest stretches of any story I have ever read, and I mean that. We come back to our beloved characters after a 4-year time skip. So much has changed in these years. Goku married Chi-Chi and has a child called Gohan. Everyone went their separate ways to train. Seeing everyone together for the first time makes it clear that time has passed. While this meeting is going on, the presence of Raditz is constantly being built up. He also has a tail like Goku, and man got hands. Look how he just grabs the bullet and Piccolo encounters Raditz and is unable to do anything with his few attacks. Raditz grows uninterested and simply leaves. He encounters Goku and it's revealed that Raditz is his brother and that Goku's from another planet. He is a Saiyan, whatever that's supposed to mean. Funny enough, this was foreshadowed in one of the early chapters of Dragon Ball, but even if it wasn't, it makes sense. Goku in power and nature is unlike anything we've seen and keep seeing. The only thing that comes close to his power is Piccolo, who is also an alien, so... In this very same chapter, Goku's real nature is revealed and Raditz kidnaps Gohan. Piccolo offers a temporary alliance with Goku to defeat Raditz, and so this amazing fight begins. In Dragon Ball Z, the whole tradition of fights changed. No more 1v1 tournaments, it's whatever the streets say. There's an actual powerful story being told here and the pacing is at its fastest. Raditz gives Piccolo and Goku a fight for their life, literally. And in the span of only 9 chapters, Goku dies. The impact of Piccolo's beam is clear. It was the only way to defeat such a powerful foe. Goku and Raditz have a perfect parallel when it comes to their death. Both die from the same attack and die with the same thought in mind. They're aware that the Dragon Balls would give them one get out of jail free card. They both trust in their companions to bring them back to life. Although Raditz claims Goku grew soft and too susceptible to the emotions of others, it's that very same kindness that made him meet the people that will go out of their way to revive him whenever it is needed. Dying sucks, don't it? Don't talk like that. We'll bring you back. Thanks. Meanwhile, Raditz remained cold and hateful. He trusted on his comrades that immediately went, man, fuck that guy. How does immortality sound like instead? Hell yeah. Even in heaven, Goku asks what happened to his brother and they inform him he went straight to hell. Raditz warns them of his companion that is far stronger than him, which leads to all the Z warriors training until the day comes. Piccolo grabs a hold of Gohan and trains him. His entire potential is too good of a use for these Saiyans that will come to Earth. This is one of the best opening acts I've read, and you think this is it? Do you think this is how good Dragon Ball can get? Homie, this shit is basic. Welcome to graduation.
Good morning.
Gohan bonds with Piccolo and finally becomes the strongest version of himself. We're all training for this day that's so close to us. There's fear in all of their faces, but you can see the determination in those very same eyes. And thus, the day arrives. Who is this little twink? Everyone is far stronger than usual. Yamcha dies. Krillin shows them how to do it, and Piccolo makes it clear that these green goons ain't enough for the new and reformed team. This type of reaction is something you don't see in many shonen. They just don't get it. The monster's eyes are almost popping out of his face, and his fist is so deep into his gut. Piccolo is a threat. They mention how Piccolo, like Goku, is from an alien race. Krillin picks up on this fact. This is just Toriyama laying the seeds for the latter half of this album. Chatsu dies. They gang on Nappa, and Jesus, does this man take him hits. The action flows so well since one impact goes into the next. There's no in between, no break. It's non-stop action. Tien dies. This agonizing fight keeps going with no seeming victory. 3 Z fighters are already down, with only Nappa showing any sign of injury. Meanwhile, they haven't even touched Vegeta. This arc is cruel and has more gory than anything in the original Dragon Ball. There's a lot more body horror that I can't really show in this video, but it helps add to the severity of this fight. Nappa is ready to kill the rest of them until Vegeta screams for him to wait. Notice how the heavy action lines disappear once Vegeta screams. It's glaring to the viewer the drastic difference between the panels, which is the exact feeling that Toriyama wanted to leave here. It's confusing. Why would he tell Nappa to stop? He wants to fight Goku. Vegeta wants to fight Goku so bad he gives him 3 hours until Goku arrives. If not, his patience will run short and he will simply order Nappa to kill them. So far, although the Z fighters have brought up a decent fight, Vegeta doesn't feel challenged by them. He wants to see if Goku is any better. Their time runs short and they begin to attack Nappa, which only leads to more tragedies. Piccolo gives his life for Gohan, thanking his rival son for being the only human to ever treat him like a person. All hope is lost. Gohan and Krillin are clueless on what they can even do. Nappa is going to stump Gohan to death until...
Yes, I did.
If I had to explain this fight in one word, it would be disrespectful. This man has been training with a god for years under severe gravity, and now this fight shows just how much he's grown. Goku applies his fury towards this encounter. He's heard that he couldn't have come earlier to protect his friends that already fell victim of these foes. Goku simply tosses Nappa to the side. Man, compared to my man Goku. Vegeta grabs Nappa and like a traditional Saiyan kills him. Vegeta wants to fight Goku for himself. Goku's ready to do this mission alone and tells Krillin about it. Goku, I'm sorry we have to leave it to you alone. You better not die, old friend. No way. After this is done, I'm taking you fishing. I have no idea how people claim that Goku's so bad a father. So far, all he's shown is kindness and love to his son. Though he loves to train, he makes sure to always spend time with his son whenever it's possible. When I was reading this, it was around this point that I started getting a little bit tired and was ready to go to sleep. But then I hit this panel and I read the entire arc in one night. I have read a lot of manga and watched even more anime. I have become fairly burnt out when it comes to binging culture. I've been currently reading Blue Lock and Dan Da Dan, and although I thoroughly enjoy both, I can't binge it like I used to. I just don't have the energy or time. But with this arc, I just kept reading chapter after chapter, because it's just This entire fight is genius. The movement flows from page to page so well. Look at the way Goku shoots up like a rocket on this one page. These fights are so silent. I need everyone that thinks that Dragon Ball is just screaming and grunts to read this manga. The fights don't pace themselves nearly as well as in the manga, and the focus in the action at hand is so much better. For example, look at this heavy punch to the gut Goku deals against Vegeta. Immediately after, we see Vegeta's reaction. Now in the anime, it takes its sweet time because, you know, pacing. Dragon Ball is made by Toei Animation, the same people that make the One Piece anime. They love to stretch moments out to no end for the sake of padding. One Piece episodes are now adapting an average of 12 pages an episode. 12 pages! The usual anime adapts 3 chapters an episode at the very least, and these two fall into many misconceptions because of their poorly paced anime. Dragon Ball is quick in its action, and One Piece rarely drags out when you read the manga. In fact, once you catch up, you feel like there's still so much left to be done. Vegeta and Goku shoot their respective beams, and God, this entire moment is amazing. The way that Goku's in the ground protecting Earth, while Vegeta shoots at him with the intention of destroying him and the world Goku holds dear. You can feel the pressure of Goku just holding onto the ground. This bro loves Earth. He really values the experience he's been blessed with by growing up here. Son Goku's a Saiyan born on Earth. This comes from the man himself.
That's it. You're finished. Kakarot! Burst open and mix! What the?
Vegeta goes great ape, and this is where the fight really shifts trajectories. This fight is not a 1v1, it's everyone against Vegeta, and it's amazing to watch just how strong this shrimp is. Yajirobe cuts Vegeta's tail, reducing him to his regular form. Goku is exhausted and has almost no power left. He puts his hands up and uses the energy from the plants and the earth. A lot of people see Dragon Ball at face value, and don't get me wrong, the face value is great, but people go ahead and call all the shonen deep and nuanced, and the average reader simply wouldn't get it. But they fail to realize that every series has this extra layer. This moment perfectly signifies Goku's connection with Earth. It shows that the Earth in some way loves Goku back. He gives Krillin the Spirit Bomb, and he succeeds at dealing the final blow against Vegeta. Just like how Goku spared Piccolo, he wishes to spare Vegeta, hoping that he would be able to fight him once again. This time around, it makes a little bit less sense than it did with Piccolo. Vegeta is guilty of the death of many of his companions, yet Goku still gives him a second chance to leave. This is an aspect of the story that will be brought up again later down the line. And while Goku recovers, Krillin, Bulma, and Gohan set out to Namek. Okay, I'm going to say it. The Namek Saga is better than this, and this. This is the arc that gives you everything you want in a story. Interesting world building. The planet of Namek visually stands out as unique and out of this world. We learn about its people and their culture, and the tragedies they have experienced before this arc. Great characters. As always, Dragon Ball continues to have a great main cast, but this is definitely the arc that uses its characters to their truest extent. Krillin is the brains of this entire mission. He's the one that picked up on the comment about the Namekians, and was banking on the idea that they'll be able to revive Piccolo if they head to this distant planet. He even thought about using the capsule in which Nappa came in. My man has brains. While the invasion of Frieza's army is going on, he's the one that has the idea to hide their power levels so that they're not caught, which almost always worked out in their favor. Although Krillin is physically weak, he's always quick to protect Gohan and help him out. I love Krillin. He's one of my favorite characters in Dragon Ball, and he really proved himself as Goku's best friend and a valuable member of the team in this arc.
I'm going to make your death long and painful!
A phenomenal antagonist in the character of Frieza, a space racist that sees any other race as inferior to him, and is so up to his head he believes he is the strongest in the universe, which he is. The story does a great job to show just how strong and pretentious he is. He immediately tells the Z Warriors that he has 3 forms, but thus he'll have to go past his second one. He is the perfect villain for this arc. And then there's Vegeta. A lot of Vegeta. Coming back to his spaceship, Vegeta is done with his radar to detect Ki. He learned from Goku that such item is useless. Vegeta's development throughout this arc is great because it's very clear he isn't on anyone's team, but he serves his own desires. Although incapable of it, he's willing to kill Frieza or anyone else that tries to take immortality away from him. Everyone is after the Dragon Balls for one reason or another. Krillin wants to revive the Z Fighters, and both Vegeta and Frieza are fighting for immortality, but for very different reasons. Vegeta wants immortality so that there will be no ceiling to his powers. He will always get stronger, and by being immortal, keep the Saiyan race alive. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, Frieza doesn't care about getting more powerful. He just wishes to terrorize people with his power for the rest of eternity. The biggest flaw with these characters is the selfishness and pride they both possess. But the main difference is that Vegeta is willing to grow and learn, but Frieza isn't. Frieza is unable to read ki, and nor does he really care about learning how to do so. He's naturally strong, but he hasn't trained to become any stronger. Meanwhile, Vegeta only grows in power. Vegeta is fighting this ugly bastard, and look how he dodges that into a push-up. Vegeta doesn't mess around. Not only is he a really good character, he's just really fucking cool.
Dirty fireworks.
I am a freak for impact shots, and every single Vegeta fight has some of the best I've ever seen. This is only the beginning of this arc, setting even more things up for the climax of this arc. A lot of people act like the build-up portion of a story can be entertaining. The first arc of Bleach or the first couple of episodes of Naruto serve as laying the seeds for the rest of the story. It's still boring as shit. You can make the build-up interesting and avoid having it feel like a loredom to its viewer or a waste of my time. Dragon Ball is great at avoiding annoying loredoms that will bore out the viewer. Instead, Toriyama knows how to entertain the reader visually. Call it eye candy, I don't care. It's so goddamn fun to read. He is well aware that you can tell a story without unnecessary story dumps. There's no villain explaining in detail how his powers work or convoluted fights filled with technicalities. It's just entertaining and so easy to read. The manga is obviously black and white, but many times Toriyama chooses to color entire chapters, and his use of colors is phenomenal. He really enjoys it, and you can tell by how distinct it is. I love the Kaioken colors in this panel specifically, and while we're talking about art, oh my god, this manga is brutal. And then finally, as the story reaches its climax, is when every seed planted grows to a full bloom. Frieza shows his final form and is so much stronger than everyone, easily beating Piccolo and the rest whose potential was recently uncapped. And when all hope seems to be lost, there's only one person left to defeat Frieza: the legendary Super Saiyan!
Did I not make myself clear before? I've grown tired of your pathetic jokes.
It's so unclear what a Super Saiyan really is. The idea of it has been built up by Vegeta and the Frieza army. The entire reason Frieza eradicated the Saiyans was his very fear of this myth. Vegeta is prideful, so he thinks he's the only one worthy to become a Super Saiyan, until we see his true colors in his death. Vegeta goes ahead and tells Frieza that whatever the Super Saiyan is, Vegeta's not that. Vegeta, for once, strips every single ounce of pride from his heart and asks Kakarot to please, after all the monstrosities Frieza has done, a Saiyan must be the one to defeat him. Vegeta tells Frieza that Kakarot is the one worthy of the name Super Saiyan, and whatever it may be, Goku is that. And thus, the legendary battle begins. This is as good as action scenes go. You have the motive and narrative pushing you to go through every page, the amazing action with little to no dialogue, the strategy. Did you know that Dragon Ball fights had strategy? Did you know that this guy is actually pretty smart? While Frieza is overwhelming Goku, he hides in the water and takes a moment to think on how he can defeat Frieza. What even is this monster's weakness? And then he realizes how Frieza doesn't have a clue on how to distinguish ki without his radar, and since he already got rid of that because of his huge ego, Goku uses this as his game plan. In this fight, Goku uses everything at his disposal. Brains, Kaioken, Kamehameha, beam setup, spirit bombs, traditional martial arts. He even bites Frieza's f***ing tail. After all these attacks, both Frieza and Goku are on their last legs. Frieza grabs Krillin and Goku is furious. The ground is shaking. Frieza is terrified. Whatever Goku feels is a feeling unlike something he's ever felt. This leads to the most satisfying, most jaw-dropping transformation I've seen in a while. The legendary Super Saiyan. You look at this, and you know exactly what it is. The aura, the hair. It feels like this may just be what a Super Saiyan is. This transformation is out of this world, especially in the manga. The way it's not completely spiky and the hair still flows so smooth. The pure white makes it stand out in every page, similar to what Gear 5 does every time this transformation shows up. Goku's so fast and much stronger in this form. He's almost playing with Frieza, unable to win. Frieza's furious at the mere idea of someone being as strong as him.
Let me see what you've got.
Why, you worm! You dare to mock me!
What's the matter, Frieza? I can't be harder to destroy than a planet, right?
Oh my god!
I'm the Saiyan who came all the way from Earth for the sole purpose of beating you. I am the warrior you've heard of in legends, pure of heart and awakened by fury. That's what I am. I am the Super Saiyan Son Goku!
He's him! After this beautiful bar, Frieza struggles to maintain his composure, filled with regret that he didn't decide on exterminating the race sooner. Still, he is confident that he will be victorious. Even after this transformation, it doesn't guarantee Goku's victory. That's what I love about it. For as long as Kaido vs Luffy went on, the actual climax felt so rushed since the transformation almost immediately led to the conclusion of the arc. While it's clear that Kaido is powerful, I believe due to the fact that there were so many perspectives going on in this arc, the great moments fell short to a lot of other plot threads that weren't nearly as interesting. That's another thing that I love about this altercation. Goku vs Frieza is the main focus. There's no side plot with Bulma or Gohan. The focus is this phenomenal climax that is going on before our eyes. Frieza does not go out without a fight. Jesus Christ, look at that impact! Frieza is my favorite villain in all of Dragon Ball. He's the funny racist guy.
Hello, monkeys!
But he doesn't just hate other races, he fears them. He fears Namekians and Saiyans. But more importantly, he's terrified of what they can grow to become. He fears something being stronger than him. Frieza has a distinct phobia towards other human beings and their potential growth. This exactly opposes his nature as a character. This may be because he himself has no clue what growth is, which fits really well with the overarching theme of Dragon Ball, but I'll get back to that later. He also has a lot of charm in his cruel actions. Frieza is strong, but he ain't beating Goku. At the end, Frieza's inability to accept defeat is what leads him to getting sliced in half by his own move. Goku warns him about the discs coming his way, but his unwillingness to listen is what cost him half of his body gone. Goku does what he did with Vegeta and Piccolo. Spare him. Give him some energy so that he could go far, far away and that Goku will never see him ever again. Even at this point, even with half of his body gone, with the little energy that Goku gave him, Frieza still refuses to lose. Goku screams in anger and is forced to kill Frieza. You can see it in his face that this is not the way Goku wanted things to end, but it's simply part of Frieza's nature. He's not willing to change, grow, or accept defeat, which is what leads him to his doom. This entire fight runs on pure adrenaline, and I am here for it. I imagine what it must have felt like being a kid in Japan reading this week by week. It must have felt exciting, fresh, revolutionary.
Wake up, Mr. West!
Graduation was a final piece in Kanye's trilogy of albums in which he refined his sound to a perfect extent. Tackling emotions and delicate topics while also appealing to the mass audience, he made music for you to wake up to dance at the club, to cry, to reflect, to smile. It was all in this one album. Before this album, gangster rap was the most prolific type of rap. Artists like 50 Cent and Eminem were the sound to define hip-hop. So when Kanye came with this brand new sound that people have never heard before, it pulled them. It changed the way we viewed music, dabbling more into electronic sounds, taking advantage of technology to its fullest extent. Kanye was a genius of his time, and most artists we hear of now take inspiration from the man himself. Graduation made Ye go worldwide. He didn't know how to dance or really sing. He was able to perfect a sound that was listened to everywhere and gathered the respect of absolutely everyone while he was at it, creating so many inspirations, yet no one can do it like him. This is why an innovator is always so good. Although many will go back and try to refine the art, an innovator's work will always stand out. You will always be able to tell, although you've heard that or this, you haven't heard it like the real piece. And that's exactly the case with Dragon Ball. Toriyama was an innovator. At the time, Weekly Shonen Jump mainly published manga like JoJo's and The Fist of the North Star, much more serious and much less focused on the characters and their stories. On the other hand, Dragon Ball had everything. It had endearing moments, phenomenal characters, and themes of kindness that would touch its viewers. It had a perfect balance of humor and seriousness. The Namek Saga shows you that the only way you can change is if you let yourself grow. If you accept kindness and the help from others, notice your own flaws as a person, and improve on them. Not only did Dragon Ball change Weekly Shonen Jump's entire formula, but it changed the way we perceive battle action anime. And Dragon Ball Z took it outside of Japan. It brought it to the rest of the world and it had the same reaction. Hispanic countries fell in love with the surprisingly great Spanish dub and action that was told in the series. It was an icon in America as the anime. Your mom knows about it, and maybe even your grandma. She may think it's satanic though. The West introduction to what anime can bring was Dragon Ball Z, and so many forget just how great it truly was. You will see just how much your favorite series took from Dragon Ball, yet how all of them failed to do the key thing that made it so damn easy to read. The action paneling is superb, and it's what makes so many of these fights so entertaining. The heavy line art, the dramatic reaction to hits, the right use of background and white space. Not only were the fights fun to read, but they were also great great in stakes and perfectly set up for a great confrontation. Even outside of anime and manga, Dragon Ball Z has served as an inspiration for many movies and songs. I'm talking so conclusive of these two, but this isn't the end of Kanye's career, nor is it the end of Dragon Ball as a series. After this legendary fight, everyone except Goku makes it back home with the help of the Dragon Balls. They revive the Namekians and are able to revive the Z Warriors, except they can't revive Krillin or Chiaotzu because both of them already died twice. Chiaotzu seems to be okay with that, and Tien is willing to stay with him. As for Krillin, we don't know. This is when Dende tells them out of nowhere that Namek Dragon Balls can revive people as many times as possible. I hate this. So far, I was able to defend and generally be okay with the rule of death in Dragon Ball. You can come back to life once, but after that, you get no more chances. It made Krillin's death impactful because Goku knew that Krillin couldn't come back. All the weight of this death is gone, knowing that he can infinitely come back. But look, I like Krillin enough that I can let it slide. But Chiaotzu? All this motherfucker has done is die. Out of everyone in the Z fighters, he is easily the least memorable. Seeing him stay in heaven with Tien would have been really interesting. It would feel similar to how Grandpa Gohan wanted to stay. Here, Tien can train until the next Grateful arrives, because I know a lot of these guys don't do much after this point. The biggest problem of this twist is how it fundamentally changes the rule that we were accustomed to. It doesn't matter how many times you die, you can always come back. This takes away the stakes of death this story once had for every arc going forward. I don't expect any character to actually die anymore, and I hate that because as a story, Dragon Ball Z had done such a great job at handling its stakes and themes that it worries you on what it will become. Speaking of which, what even is the story left to tell? Pretty much every plot thread has been completed and nothing has really been built up for future arcs. And why did the Namekians finding a new planet and leaving Earth never shown? Or the Z fighters coming back? It was told in only 2 blocks of text. It felt so unlike Toriyama to strictly tell and not show. Why is Frieza back? I hate Mecha Frieza. Toriyama gave Frieza the perfect conclusion by having him die at the hands of Goku after he gave him the opportunity to leave. Goku was hurt, saddened that things didn't go his way. He did not wish death on Frieza, so having to do it was painful for him. So him coming back kinda kills that whole thing. How the hell is he even still alive? He had half of his body chopped off, left with no energy in an exploding planet, and just got a super Kamehameha to his face. Nobody is beating these odds. So why? Why, Toriyama? Why did you bring it back? For a cool ass scene, that's why. This is the moment I feel like Dragon Ball took its first steps to so many stereotypes it's known for today. Cool moments with little thematics, and it's still an entertaining read, but the android saga is nowhere near as neatly planned as the initial arcs of Dragon Ball Z. One of the biggest faults for this arc is that this was when Toriyama really started making the story as it went on. Do I think Dragon Ball should have ended at the Namek Saga? No. I love these characters in its charming world, but it's clear that Toriyama needed a break. Not only to relax and spend time with his family, but to sit down and think where he can take the story from here. I feel as if though this arc could have been so much better if Toriyama had the time to plan the story like he did previously. Why is Goku acting like he didn't kill Frieza? Trunks is pretty cool, but him turning Super Saiyan and killing Mecha Frieza really diminishes the previous arc and the lengths that Goku went to defeat him. Did Goku just learn teleportation off screen? Why didn't you tell anyone where you were? Not even your own son? Thought you were a good dad. Goku is warned about this invasion that bloodthirsty androids will do in 3 years. They tell him the exact city that this invasion will happen, and he doesn't try or think to evacuate the city in any way. Goku loves Earth, and the story goes to a great extent to show just how much he cares about others. So why can't they show at least Goku trying to care? Why is Chiaotzu still alive if he's just going to get booted off the mission? Kanye West said what? Even with its flaws, Dragon Ball is a story that will forever stick out to me. It has everything you could possibly ask in a shonen. Fast action, rare use of story dumps, great antagonists, and memorable main characters. Many people say how characters don't grow in Dragon Ball and how shallow many of these characters are, but almost all of the characters show incredible growth throughout the series. Vegeta and Piccolo being a prime example of this growth. Really, the series is about growth. It's about ripping away something that is part of your core and understanding how you can grow with or without it. Evil, pride, and even stubbornness. They're all traits that our characters try to overcome, but the mere fact that they're trying is what makes them victorious over those that are unwilling to learn from their mistakes. I love Dragon Ball Z, and yes, I grew up with it. As a kid, I thought Dragon Ball was the shit, and as an adult, I think it's even better than what I remembered. I love Kanye West. He's an artist who has captured me with his sound and style. His music is so personal, yet so alive in its words. I don't agree with many of the statements that he has said recently, and as for Dragon Ball, I may not have any real interest in what's to come, especially Super, but I want to take you back to a point in time that Dragon Ball Z was damn near flawless. The Namek Saga is the graduation of shonen manga, and it is the footprint to what shonen is today, and one of the greatest albums to have ever existed.
you be so heartless? How could you be so cold as the winter wind when it breeze, yo?